How you handle your lawn care impacts our water and air. In 1 hour, a gas-powered mower produces the same amount of pollution as a car driven 100 miles. Gas-powered lawn equipment harms our air. And yard waste down storm drains causes flooding and water pollution. Using too much fertilizer releases harmful chemicals into our air and runs off lawns, eventually reaching our rivers and streams. Healthy lawn care habits protect your family, our community, and the environment. Healthy yards for healthy communities.
Sure we're on. Can everybody hear me? All right. Ed, you can hear me back there? Very good. We're going to call this meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez. Here. Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Salinas is out tonight. Councilmember Click.
Here.
Councilmember Saper.
Here.
Councilmember Bailey.
Here.
Councilmember McGrone.
Here.
And tonight we have a special treat. We have Troop 354, I believe, here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could come up to the podium, please. Everybody could stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Troop 354. Okay, do we have a motion on approval of the agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, ceremonial matters. We have some friends here. They have to get out of here to get to their own council meeting. So we're going to make this quick, but this is the Northland Workforce Development Center. We have made a $25,000 commitment. So we have a giant check. So we're going to bring them up here to take a picture. So if the council could get together.
You want to get in front of the dais? Where do you want them at? If you guys can get right there, I'll stage you. One, two, three. Taking 40.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, y'all get out of here. Y'all get out, you hear? Yes, 6:30. So, yeah, moving. All right, that was fun. Moving on to item 6, comments from the public. If you are a member of the public wishing to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comment to 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
Good evening. I am Ken Honick with Vermore Bank. We're at Armour in Burlington. My address is 3300 North Mohawk, and I say that because I live in River Forest on the wrong side. I will continue to pay my 1% earnings tax for North Kansas City Services should you ever want to annex us. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? Excited to be here. I am a graduate of North Kansas City High School and excited to work in Northtown for the first time in my life. I've been working north of the river a while, but 6 years at Vermore Bank. And part of what makes us different, and we're thrilled to be part of the community, is we moved in here in 2013. So in 2012, A&B Bank pulled Premier Bank out. We had a building ready to go. We moved in 2013. And over the last 12 years, we now hold the second most deposits in North Kansas City. So we've had some really good success. We're the only bank down here whose CEO is in North Kansas City. Actually, I should say Northtown because I am from here after all. But part of what makes us different also is growth is part of what happens, right? But we're now the only bank we're the only bank down here now that really chose to come to Northtown to do business. The others, with all the acquisitions, are part of a branch network, and Northtown was just kind of a part of the puzzle. But we made a very conscious decision in 2013 to come down to Northtown, and I'm thrilled. It's turned out really well for us. We are also one of the acquiring banks. So we did recently buy Clay County Savings Bank, which now gives us a nice branch network up and down I-35 in Kearney, at North Brighton, in Liberty, and also here. Northtown has been great to us, and we're thrilled to be part of it. And part of what has made it great is if you look at Northtown, Northtown has changed through the years. Northtown, it used to be big industrial city, which it still is, but it also used to be that it went to sleep at about 5:30 at night, which it no longer does. We're similar to that in that we're very much part of the community, but what we do has absolutely changed. Our role is still about going down and doing commercial business. We are an aggressive commercial lender to help the things down here or elsewhere in the Northland, but really it's more of helping customers when they have issues. It's no longer about can you manage the line and what have you. Banking has changed. We've changed with it. And like I say, we are absolutely thrilled to be a part of it, to be part of Northtown, and obviously welcome anyone to come by. We are lucky. I will say this: there is not a bad bank in Northtown. There really isn't. We're fortunate to do that. Again, I really like what we do because we're very much of Northtown. I'm personally thrilled to be here, and a couple of things. I enjoyed seeing the check just before. I'm on the Northland CAPS board, so the whole idea of workforce development is close to my heart. I'm also not workforce development, but honored to be the chair of the Clay County Children's Fund. So I've been doing that 8 or 9 years since its inception. But anyway, I will let everybody get on with the business. I just want you to know how thrilled Verramore Bank is to be a part of Northtown, how good Northtown has been to us, and hopefully we've been good to Verramore Bank too, and we are here purposefully. So good luck. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the work you're doing with CAPS and the Children's Fund. That's important stuff. Appreciate you. Further public comments? Going once. Seeing none, we will move along to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. Regular agenda item 10.
Public hearing, Northgate tax increment financing.
I believe this is going to be Kim, and Kim has been given a strict 10-minute limit on this one, so here we go.
You mean 100 minutes? Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet, you received kind of a longer form report. This is the 5-year tax increment financing annual report. It is statutorily required, so there are certain things that I need to hit on. I will try to be as quick as possible. Oh. I went right into it. I scooted right over opening the public hearing.
So we need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now open. Staff report.
So we'll start off
Let's
with
go.
the state statute. So this is the state statute kind of requiring that every 5 years that we hold a public session to give an update on the tax increment financing plan. So this actually began in 1995. It actually began when the city underwent a master plan development update, which the city is about to embark on next year. Some of the things that they did was they saw that there was some changes in the demographics. They actually did a block-by-block building survey, and they came up with a couple of priorities. So one of the priorities was a demand for new residential housing to increase home ownership, redevelop the multifamily housing, and Mike Smith was actually the champion of this particular project. What was identified was the Northgate Village. Some of the things that made this an attractive redevelopment area was the fact that this was under one single ownership. I don't know why they didn't build one more or one less, but they went with 666 units. It was 56 acres. This was post-war housing. It was very functional for its first 30 years, but by the time you got into the 90s, it was deteriorating. Several of the units actually were later closed and not found safe for human habitat. So the city kind of really started to look at this area as an area that could be redeveloped, and this is what it looked like in 1996. The city went through kind of a very interesting assessment process. They looked at minor revitalization versus a true overhaul. And they went through an analysis process to see what would the city's costs be and what would the amount of livable, usable stock and what would the rent look like. So they actually went with the major development. They stood up the TIF plan, or the TIF committee. The city didn't have a tax increment financing committee. And in 1999, they came together with a plan. They designated a master developer, and they went with this particular proposal. They did a call for proposals. There were several that were rejected, but this is the one that they went with. So this was the financial split. So the city was in charge of getting the land and raising the land, and the private developer would put their investments in and sell it to private ownership. This was the overall project cost, a little over $82 million. So again, the city was charged with acquiring and preparing the site, which is actually one of the reasons why this is a very unique tax increment financing plan, because the city bore the expense of acquiring the land. The tax increment financing actually benefits the city to repay the debt that the city took out from its gaming fund. So it's very interesting. The city was the master developer, and that is why the tax increment financing flows back into the city to kind of plenish what was borrowed against its gaming fund. The developer was Hunt Midwest, and like I said, it was very interesting that we had kind of conveyed the land to there. The original project timeline was 8 years. So in 2020, the city approved all of the plans. In 2023, and again, we're high glossing over, there's a much larger timeline in the report. In 2023, the city had acquired the land. There were several lawsuits that kind of resulted in finally acquiring that land. Ruby Tuesdays was approved. Demolition and infrastructure work happened. In 2024 to 2027, Northgate Village.
2004.
2004.
There you go. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm trying to move fast. See, if I was going my 45-minute route, it'd be fine. In 2004 to 2007, the city was activating the TIF parcels, and construction was going well. And then 2008 happened. Everybody kind of understands what had happened then. The bottom dropped out in the housing market, and this project stalled out for quite some time. The city was kind of backed into a corner, either activate the remaining TIF parcels or forego them and have to start over again. So even though the city had really no prospect of several of these homes being constructed, the city made the decision to activate it and hope to find a development partner. This is kind of where it was. This was how those particular parcels were activated. You'll see a lot of them were activated in 2009. And again, that was kind of where the economy had stalled out. In 2010, the city hosted its first public hearing and the first extension that was granted for the master development agreement. Again, everybody kind of understood where the economy was and the fact that houses were not selling. This was the 6th year of the TIF activation, and you can kind of see what was built and what was stalled out. In 2011, the Third Amendment happened. It actually took out the requirement for a grocery store, which was a requirement for the original development. In 2012 and 2013, the Gardens Apartments were very popular. In fact, it was one of the amenities that the city didn't really have an understanding of how much senior housing was needed in this community, and it actually amended it to allow for more. 2014, another extension. 2015, another amendment to allow another Gardens apartment. In 2018, the master development agreement expired. And in 2019, the city council executed some termination agreements. They were called wind-up agreements, and what that was to try to finish what could be finished and then to bring back into city ownership the undeveloped parcels. So this is kind of what 2020 looked like. The yellow are city-owned property. The blue were privately owned property that were not developed yet. We, as part of those wind-up agreements, kind of put a hard stop on when those houses or units were to be constructed. And again, this is 16 years of TIF activation. In 2020, the city did put out an RFP and entered into an agreement with Star Development for what you now see as the 23rd and Swift Apartments. We updated the covenants and restrictions. I don't know, some of you were on council when that happened or kind of paying attention. They were very, very restrictive, and the feedback the city was getting was that they were too restrictive for development. And that is when we issued the RFP for the commercial property that lines up Burlington. In 2021, we entered into an agreement with Box Development for Bloom NKC, and City View Apartments Lot 2B were completed. In 2022, 23rd and Swift began construction, and in 23, Bloom NKC began construction. And kind of this brings us up to today. 23rd and Swift Apartments are completed. Phase 1 of NKC is at 70%. And as reported about a month or so ago, we actually have received a letter that Hunt Midwest has completed all residential construction. Some items kind of coming up in the near future is we do anticipate in 2026 amending the TIF plan for hopefully the very last time, as well as the completion of Phase 1 in 2020 of Bloom NKC. In 2027, we anticipate Phase 2 of Bloom NKC being complete, and this would actually complete all of Northgate Village. So we are working with Bloom NKC to have kind of a ceremony, because that is going to be quite the epic thing, as you now see that this project began in 1995. So, and in 2028, the TIF plan begins to sunset, and in 2033, the TIF actually retires. So kind of wrapping up, if you look at Northgate Village, even though it did take an elongated timeline, it is still considered a major success in the eyes of TIF increment financing and what can be done. It did replace a deteriorating mid-century apartment complex that had long presented health and safety challenges. There are actually some people here on staff that were around when those apartments were up and responded to calls from that area. It also met another major goal, and that was added 245 units available for home ownership possibilities here in North Kansas City. It did transform North Kansas City. A lot of people who are actually at the dais kind of live in and around that area, and it really did redefine what housing in North Kansas City could look like. When it is retired, it will also meet its other goal, and that is really giving a shot in the arm to our taxing jurisdiction friends, because those homes, when they come back onto the tax roll, will be much higher assessed than what was there previous. So again, it's very unclear at this time, and we really won't know until we redo our TIF calculations if the city will be made financially whole after this TIF has run out. One of the things that we are wondering at the staff level is what the implications of Senate Bill 190 will be on the city's projected revenue threads till the end of 2032. Our partner, Columbia Capital, will be helping us kind of understand that when we rewrite the TIF plan for its third and hopefully last time. However, but you got to think about the holistic goals of the city. And again, Northgate Village really did achieve a lot of those goals set out in 1995 and 1996 when it was envisioned. This is kind of what it looks like now. And that is it for my presentation, which for me, I think was amazingly fast.
Crushed it. Thank you. Yeah, hey, all right. Very good. That is a great summary. It's wild to see the progress and the vision that was set forth and what the wall looked like back in 95. There's wood slats, pretty cool. And to clarify, SB 190 is the senior tax relief piece that we're not certain what that full impact will be. Any questions from those at the dais? Okay, so we have public comments as part of the public hearing. Do we have any public comments? George, anything? No? Hey, very good. All right. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
I have to call roll.
Call the
Sorry.
roll.
Councilmember Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Click,
Yes.
Councilmember Saper,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you again, Kim. That was a great presentation, and this has been such a. Amy and I came on 2019 with this, and have 2020-ish, and have been just working on it ever since. But to think it goes back all the way to the late 1900s is wild to think about. All right, moving on to item 11.
NKC Composting Ad Hoc Committee Update.
Good evening.
I'm Diane Barrow, and I'm here with Bart German and Joanna Keel to update you on the Compost Committee ad hoc group. We appreciate the support we've had from this group and from the city, and we just wanted to let you know what we've done since the last time we were here. An important part of what we've done is we took a survey of the interest of the residents in composting. They were able to reply on social media. In the water bills, there was information on how to reply, and then we had paper copies available in 2 spots in the city, and we had 105 respondents, and 85 expressed an interest in drop-off services. As you can see, there was also interest in at-home composting, which we will address later, and pickup services, which is where they are on their own to purchase their compost services that come conveniently to their house and get their food scraps. And then the drop-off is what we're going to drill down on first. We got some really important information from this. One thing we found out is that of the people who responded, 58 households would be new to composting, which obviously you get a bigger bang for your buck when you have a lot of new people composting. The people who responded were amazingly pretty evenly spread, although more heavily weighted towards 1, 2, and 3, which was important for us to know in terms of where we would put any community drop-off bins. We wanted to ask a question about smartphone access because there's some talk now about how building infrastructure that keeps people out who can't or don't use smartphones is not a good long-term strategy. So we just, we're not focused entirely on that, but we want to consider that in our solutions. And so we had 10% of the people who would not be comfortable using a cell phone with the solution. So we have to keep that in mind. Not surprisingly, most of the respondents were from single-family homes, but in composting, it's important to put drop-off services with the highest density. So what we learned from this is we're a little bit skewed toward the western side of our city. So that's kind of where we wanted to focus for drop-off services. We are going to propose that we put a drop-off bin at or near Save-A-Lot to take advantage of that western access and the high-density housing in that region. We also have, near the YMCA, the Ripple glass recycling. So that seems like a really logical place that people can just take all their glass to be recycled and compost as well. And we have ideas to see if we can find other opportunities for compost or for recycling with that spot too. Our next steps with the drop-off bins is a formal proposal from Kansas City Can Compost. We hope to include people from Public Works. Well, we need to include people from Public Works in that proposal. And at that time, they will be outlining more clearly their cost and service agreements. Their entire goal is to make sure that city employees are not spending a lot of time on this. And they've learned a lot from their pilot, which has been very successful in Prairie Village. So unfortunately for us, as a result of that, the costs have gone up pretty significantly since we've been here. But we're working on ways to pay for that, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that at a later date. We've done other things, not just about drop-off services. We were lucky enough with the Parks and Rec group to be able to host a home compost workshop. The Mid-America Regional Council had two folks, Katie White and Stan Slaughter, that are doing home composting in a number of different MARC regions, and they came, and we had over 30 people come out to learn about home composting, which we were thrilled with the attendance. We've also been reaching out to try to encourage people to be interested in this. We hope to really hit it hard in the spring, too, because that's when our drop-off services will start. But we wanted to make sure that we were supporting home composters and people who wanted home services because they can start those right away. So we use social media to promote home composting workshops here and at Antioch Urban Growers. And we promoted the Compost Collective KC for home pickup services. And we have a YouTube channel now where we had our first video where Bart built a home composter. You can go out and look at it. I think you'll really like it. And we plan more content like that to just support people. As the word is spread and as people have questions, we will reach out more and support people in their efforts. We also applied for and received a grant from the Mid-America Regional Council, and Kim will be helping us with that. She has and will be helping us. So some of the expenses that we anticipate, like helping maybe some block captains set up so that they can be advisors to their neighbors who are starting to compost. We may need some signage, some educational materials, and we may just be able to provide supplies for people to make their composting experience easier. We hope in the future to work with property managers, tenant groups, possibly HOAs to encourage and facilitate home composting. And we've already distributed information to residents to sign up for curbside, but we'll continue to keep that out in front of people because people will evolve to this at different times. So,
Excellent.
do you have any questions?
What questions do we have from the council? Councilmember Groen.
So just so that I can refresh my memory, I think we set up as a council to give money for the bins, right? And were those like $1,000 a month, or did that cost go up because of the Prairie Village pilot?
The cost went up because the bins are manufactured in the UK. There's tariff impacts. And I think the people power required from Casey Can Compost is more than anticipated.
So I think as a council, then did we give $2,000 a month for a year?
It was 12, was it 12,000?
12,000, I believe.
12,000
12,000?
total. Yeah.
Right.
So is that only going to cover one bin, or
Well,
will the grant that you're applying for cover the? I'm trying to figure out how we're paying for two bins.
right. We have, I have a question out to the Mid-America Regional Council who gave us the grant, if we can use some of that money for the $2,400 startup fee. And then the cost of the bins themselves went from $300 a month to $450. So pretty significant. We had some extra funds at $1,000 a month built in for possible extra pickups. I mean, that's really gone now.
Okay.
So
And then And did we, as a council, just try to remember, did we say that we were going to do this as like a pilot for a year and determine how much the usage is and all? And the app, I think, is what helps us measure the success of that?
Yes.
Okay,
exactly.
great, excellent.
Exactly.
And I kind of know the answers to this, but I don't think people who are watching are aware
I
of this
appreciate-
because we talked about it back in August, so.
Right.
Just trying to refresh everyone's memory on where we were with that. All right, thank you.
I appreciate you bringing those up.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding the pricing structure that's being discussed. Is that 300 to 450 a bin? Is that for each of the drop-off bins?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
These
Yes,
are
and
smart bins.
There are other options. I mean, we could go with one of the smart bins that's $4.50. We could choose a lesser priced bin. I think what people like about the bins that we've chosen is they will only open with a smartphone. And so it's easy to measure your progress. And there's been some concern about people putting things in the bin that aren't allowed. So I haven't had any experience, obviously, with that, but it is a concern that you hear. So we want it to be successful, so we went with the thing that seemed most secure for neighborhoods and the people around it. But if we have to stay within that budget, we'll have to make other choices.
Had one more quick question. So if they're smart bins, do they need power?
No.
Okay.
They're self-powered or battery.
I believe they're battery powered.
Okay.
No, I think they don't need a power source.
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Thanks.
Further questions on that? Thank you very much for the presentation. Have you, so the two bin locations, the one is a city-owned lot, we can give the proof. Have you spoken with Save-A-Lot yet or
No.
approached them?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
We that's our next step to
Sure.
actually get our details nailed down.
Yep.
And make sure that Public Works and the city budget is where it needs to be.
Logistically, both of those locations make a ton of sense. I think you've mapped that out. If you need assistance or something like that to speak with Save-A-Lot or find a lot nearby that, let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Saper.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the educational part that you're doing because, like recycling, there are a lot of confusion as to what can and can't be recycled. Same way what can and cannot be put in composting.
Yes,
And that seems to me to be a very critical part, and I'm glad you're pursuing that
yes, absolutely.
aggressively.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And we're hoping that we can all become resources for each other. We're all starting this together. So actually, we have a lot of people in our community who already are experts on it. So we'll be tapping into their knowledge too. But yes, education is the key.
Love it. And Bart, thanks for making the video. Very good. YouTube star already. Anything else from the council? Thank you so much for the
Yeah.
update.
Thank you.
All right. Item 12.
Discussion of grant opportunity for the 10th Avenue Railway Crossing.
Mike.
All right, Mayor, members of the council, thank you. Just a little bit of background on this. We have Jim Townsend here with Wilson and Company. This is in reference to 10th Avenue as you're headed east in between Gentry and Howell, where it crosses 7 sets of railroad tracks and then turns, northeast to go to Bedford. This came up during the Safe Streets for All public meeting over at the YMCA. Was that a couple months ago, Shu? So that's, being administered through Shu and community development. But they had this big aerial where you could put stickers or, questions on it about things that are known in the city. And one of the questions was, with 7 tracks, there's a lot of rail that goes through there. It was just kind of a pie in the sky. Would it be possible to get over that? Well, lo and behold, Wilson and Company, they're doing the Safe Streets for All, but they also work with Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway. And there's actually a program federally and through Burlington. So we met, discussed it, but Jim offered to come tonight and talk about the program. The The first part is a feasibility study, just to see, is it possible? Burlington Northern has offered to pay for the grant application. If the grant's applied for and awarded, then there's a 20% local share, of which I think Burlington will pay 10% of, or half of that 20%.
Half of the local share, so 100K versus 100K. Does Norfolk Southern also cross there?
We're getting the contact information for Norfolk Southern.
Beautiful.
And I think Jim could speak to,
Sure.
other instances possibly.
Sure.
No commitments yet, but with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mike. So over the past 2 years, I've been working with BNSF with their grants program. We represent them in 13 states, including Missouri. So we're doing work across the U.S., working with communities, helping them really develop relationships with their community partners to identify opportunities that are win-win for the community and them. They are trying to operate a safe operation, and also communities are trying to have safer communities, quieter communities, and so on. So over the past handful of years with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, law, it developed a number of grant programs that could fund grade separation studies, so on, particularly related to rail crossings. And so BNSF took that to heart and developed this program to help, for us to help them identify these opportunities and engage the communities that want to be engaged with. So just really quick, the public infrastructure team, French Thompson, he is the engineering director for BNSF. So all the public projects go through French and his team. This grant program is also part of his team. So the engineering aspect, the study aspect of everything that happens with the grant program is also coordinated with all of their public projects managers that the communities interact with for every interaction with the railroad. So any crossing, any improvement, so on. So Kara Brockamp, I don't know if you've interacted with her much. She's the BNSF Public Projects Manager for Missouri, and she is your contact. Jeremy Wagner, he is the Public Infrastructure and Investments lead for the southern half of the U.S. He's who I work with directly, and we've been basically working in most of those states in the orange together. So before Bill, the program that was available for this type of infrastructure funding was about a fifth or maybe 20% of what's available now. So right now we have about $28 billion annually in different programs. The primary programs, though, are the rail crossing elimination programs and the CRISI program, Consolidated Rail Infrastructure Safety Improvements. So the focus areas for BNSF, of course, the grade crossings. That's the primary location where the public interacts with the railroad. The more that can be done to separate the public from the railroad, the safer everybody is and the fewer incidents that there are. They've given us a lot of data that relates to their system above and beyond what the Federal Railroad Administration has related to their interactions at the crossings and maintenance activity and so on. And 10th Avenue is one that has a much higher level of maintenance activity because it's on a curve and there's a ton of truck traffic. And so that then causes a lot more activity for them and for NS to get out there and try to keep the crossing active. So we have a lot of effort in the upfront part of establishing relationships, identifying opportunities. Many times, the communities haven't engaged the railroads in their planning activities because they didn't know how. And so, they just kind of left the railroad alone, thinking that was the better approach. Now we're trying to engage the communities to not leave the railroad alone and really engage them in the community aspect of their planning. So with the grant activities, we're doing a lot not only to set up the grant, develop the grant, but at the award also help make sure you have what you need for grant obligation. That there's some effort in that, and not all communities are set up to facilitate that effort seamlessly. Mike mentioned the Safe Streets for All program. That's another aspect of a grant program that a lot of communities didn't think about the railroad aspect and crossings when they were doing their studies. They got enough money to do the roads, but not really dig into a lot of the crossing activities as well. The orange lines, the thick orange lines on the map, those are BNSF's intermodal corridors. And as you can see, a lot goes through Kansas City. There's a lot of activity that from throughout the ports, all the ports of the U.S. that come through Kansas City. And, it makes the activity on those thick orange lines, those are their most important lines. And so they want to see greater focus from me and my team on those orange lines. So 10th Avenue, you have a lot of industrial development on the east side of the tracks that have very limited access to town. They have the one crossing in the 10th Avenue to get into town. There's also an interchange. So it's a very it's almost a giant cul-de-sac. And so what we were talking about with Mike and his team and with BNSF is this is a great opportunity to assess 10th Avenue as the crossing. Should that be the location? And maybe it could be another centralized location or something on a different alignment, or potentially, Great Sep just north of 10th. You could tie in without a ton of impact to the existing buildings and businesses and so on that are in the area. So, this was a really quick idea just to say, hey, there is something that could be done out there to explore. And, this is just one of several ideas that would hopefully advance through an alternatives analysis phase and be able to figure out what is a preferred way forward. So what we're talking about is in the spring, the rail crossing elimination grant should be released by FRA. It's typically a 2 to 3 month turnaround. We like to get ahead of when the notice of opportunity comes out and really start working with you to hone the message, make sure we're not missing anything that you want in the grant. The city is the applicant. BNSF is a participant. They're not in the lead. we will lead the grant. We have a contract with BNSF. When they say go, we go. We think this is $1 million study, $800,000 federal, $200,000 is the match. The match is split 50-50 between the city and BNSF. There might be a third party, NS. We just haven't been able to verify or validate that. So at the high end, it'd be a $100,000 match from the city. It could be that NS doesn't want to participate now. It could be that, Norfolk Southern. As the Norfolk Southern is they're a player in the grant world. So, the federal grants are not new to them. So we don't anticipate them to say, we don't want to deal with this. But we just haven't had the discussion with them yet. We wanted to have this discussion with you all to make sure you're interested. So at the high end of the responsibility of the city, it'd be $100,000, and I'm thinking that's $27. If the grant goes in like late spring, early summer, it usually takes 3 or 4 months for selection, and it takes another 6 or 8 months for obligation. And so there's a lot of process that goes into that. Then the expectation from BNSF is that this continues on for preliminary engineering and environmental clearance, and then it continues on for construction. And they're a participant in that as well, both on the grant application side and for the match as well. The other thing is there are other partners like MoDOT that we can also start tapping to see if they're interested in playing. I know right now MoDOT is tapped out. They have a lot of other priorities in the state that they've been working on, but it just takes early conversations to get them engaged, to get something programmed a few years out. This is just an example project where, the study for the PE NEPA for this project, where it was a CRISI-funded grant. The funding is generally in that 80% range. It used to be that if you put a little more towards it, you might score better. That's gone away. But what we found with Clovis is Clovis has become a true partner with BNSF. And they work pretty seamlessly to advance their ideas together, try to find where each other can find that win-win opportunity to advance together. I found if you treat BNSF as a partner, they do really try to work with you to do what everybody wants to do in their best interest. Contact information for the team. Critica, Jeremy reports to Critica. Kara is your local public projects manager. And then Mike and I are running the program.
All right. Thank you very much. A couple questions from me. So I appreciate the presentation and the opportunity to address this. This is something that I'm sure impacts the Paseo Industrial District businesses. That one crossing pinch point kind of puts them out on an island. Where did you said I heard this came out of the Safe Streets for All? What was the genesis of this ask? Is it coming from BNSF or is it coming from the city? How did it land here?
It was me.
Okay.
I was looking at the aerial and saying, and just thinking of things they were asking, and there were curbs or even down to the 88 ramps that I've experienced, over on Iron or whatever. But it was like, well, hey, there's this, and that's how it all came up.
Sure.
That the planner then I think reached out to people within Wilson. We got contacted and said, would you like to meet?
Sure. Second piece said 7 tracks crossed there. Is that what I heard? How many of those are BNSF tracks?
3 or 4.
3 or 4, and the other 3 are Norfolk. You mentioned maintenance costs to the railroad because a lot of truck traffic beats up those tracks. Do you have any dollar value on what the maintenance looks like annually for either railroad?
All I know is that it's worth it to them to do this.
Okay. And so I think it's a good thing to look at. I think you said you think it's $1 million study. Yeah. How firm are we on that estimate that it's going to be $1 million to study it, 20% local share shakes out to $100K each? Is that pretty sure? Or?
I'm confident.
Okay. I'll take that. And then I would put it back to, I think, and we would have to talk about it as a council,
Yes.
would be supportive of doing the study, but I would really like to see Norfolk Southern engaged and paying their portion as well as a beneficiary. So like they would be seeing, if this ends up being done, a lot less maintenance on the track. BNSF also, which I appreciate them coming to the table and offering to be a community partner. But I would like to see Norfolk Southern certainly being part of the process. Then the last piece I would ask is, say we study it, we get the green light, we found a design that works, who pays for the build? Is that city? Is that?
Well, it's a continued partnership for it. So
Okay.
we would, BNSF would have us do another grant and for preliminary engineering, NEPA, and then another grant for final design and construction.
Okay. What I would be cautious of green lighting is saying, okay, let's get $1 million in for a study, but what the back end might cost. Is it going to be a $10 million project? Is it going to be a $20 million project if we start building a bridge over tracks and knowing where that funding is going to come from before we green light the study, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So we don't find out, yeah, this is great, we could make it a whole lot safer, but it's going to cost the city more money than we have to even put toward it.
So at the low end, I would say it's probably 25 to 30 million for that option that I had on that one slide.
Okay. And
if there's some other option, let's say it starts to impact the power transmission lines, or
right.
It's a much larger structure, or it can go up from there.
Of course. So the what I would call the yellow snake option that you have drawn in there is that would be the 25 million.
25 to 30.
25 to 30, assuming no confounding circumstances, which, as we all know, there will be some. When you have partnerships like the one you cited there, well, what does the typical split look like? Does BNSF put up a chunk and there's grants, and what does it end up looking like to the city?
So the grant, the federal grants are always covering 80%.
Okay.
And so the 20% comes from their matching funds from whoever. Okay. BNSF has been partnering on all aspects of the match, from the planning through construction. And it depends on, the number of participants, and, it could be that MoDOT chips in some, it could be that NS chips in some, and, at most it's a 50-50 split.
Okay.
I would think we could get MoDOT interested in it because there's an interchange connection here to the interstate.
Yeah. Their budget, I've learned recently, their budget process is many, many years long to get something into their hopper and to get it funded. So if we're looking to study and then maybe get it implemented in 2027, 2028, we would need to start that process with MoDOT about a year ago or so.
No, the study would start in 27.
Okay.
The construction, I'm guessing, is probably 8 years down the road if you're getting grants for all aspects of the project.
Okay. So we get a little ways.
We have a ways.
All right. Questions from the council? Councilmember Saper?
Considering the topography there, flat, and it would really have to be, I would think, a pedestrian automobile crossing. It would probably have to be quite long.
Yeah.
And that cost, it would be very high for that pedestrian vehicular crossing. Again, is there another option for realigning streets that might be less costly in terms of building a bridge for cars and pedestrians?
Oh,
Be part of the
possibly,
study.
and that's
And
part
that
of
would
the
be
study.
part of the study, I assume, because you'd want to keep the railroad at grade level.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah,
The-
absolutely. As a
lived in the
former
tracks.
locomotive engineer, I would,
Okay. Okay.
I would
You
know,
understand.
you would have to keep it that way.
Uh-huh.
Councilmember McGrone?
Okay, so, Mike, I appreciate you thinking about this from a perspective of somebody who's trying to get around that area. I don't see a lot of foot traffic over there. I'm down there a lot. I do see a lot of car traffic going into the area. So I've got a couple of questions about that. One is, are the businesses, other than the railroad, who is having to deal with the damage that the cars are doing to their tracks, are any other businesses complaining about access that the trains are blocking from people from getting to those businesses? Because if right now it sounds like we have train tracks that have cars running over them all the time, and it would be really nice if that wasn't happening, and if the city could pay for, or at least partially fund, a bridge that cars could then go over and the train tracks wouldn't get as damaged, and then Burlington Northern and Norfolk Southern wouldn't have to repair their tracks as much. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that you're asking us for $100,000, potentially, low end probably, to do a study to tell us what are the options, then maybe a $30,000 or $30 million project to build something. If the city pays 10% of that, that's $6 million to do, I'm sorry, that's $3 million. But it's not going to be $30 million. It's going to be more than that because, as Councilmember Saper said, it's a very long expanse. Here's what I would like. I would like for Burlington Northern and Norfolk Southern to fund their own study, come to us, tell us, here is what we think would be good, and then we can decide whether or not we think it's a good idea to spend millions of dollars improving that situation. I think right now, I'm not comfortable spending $100,000 on a study that's going to tell us it's going to cost too much for us to be involved to fix it. That's where I'm at.
Any other thoughts from the council? Councilmember Click?
Just similarly, my question kind of the whole time was, I'm curious what the businesses who are impacted the most would say is really, I'd be interested to hear that perspective before spending, before even talking more about spending the $100,000.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yeah, I'm just curious, maybe I don't quite understand the reasoning for this. Is this to benefit the railroad for their tracks, or what's the advantage for the city to have the bridge built?
You would have an unimpeded connection between the industrial area and the town.
Okay.
You wouldn't have a blocked crossing when the trains are, 7 tracks are crossing that crossing. So you wouldn't be, there would be no blockage.
No wait time or no,
No horns, no nothing.
okay. Okay.
Councilmember Bailey?
Couple questions. One, I would assume if we did traffic over it, it would need to be able to handle semi-loads, which
Right.
not just vehicular, but semis. I've been blocked by this many times, so I get it. I've got caught there. It's not fun, and you can sit there and wait quite a while before it shows up. Generally, I give up and go around on 35, which is unfortunate. My biggest question is actually for Fire Chief Williams is if you had guaranteed access down there, does that change staffing and equipment needs if you knew, because right now you've essentially almost doubled your level of equipment to have a second firehouse down there just because if there is traffic there, you can't get through, correct?
I wouldn't say that that's the main reason why that station is down there.
Okay.
But it would it would create better access for not only, I mean, I think Chief Freeman would agree too, that it would create better access as far as emergency response.
Okay, so there might be some equipment that maybe you wouldn't need to double up on, you could share, not completely remove what we have down there by any stretch of the imagination, but there could be some synergies.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I wouldn't say for sure right now without studying it or looking at it.
Okay.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
This cost, if we were to move forward with the $100,000, wouldn't be something we would have directly budgeted for, obviously, not knowing about this before tonight. But what, I guess, kind of where would this funding come from? Where in our budget?
The first thought is gaming. I mean, the first thing we do is look at what we budgeted for in capital, where we're at on it. If there's anything we think that, isn't going as quick as thought, but the other part is just coming back with the request a budget amendment. Either, I'd say gaming or transportation, one of the two.
Yeah. I hear the concerns about the large long-term costs. It's, I get it. At the same time, for, starting the process for a relatively low cost of $100,000 and just seeing what it looks like and seeing what federal funding is available doesn't seem like the worst decision to me personally. Maybe no guarantee of ever going past that, but at least see what's out there.
Yep. Councilmember Bailey.
Yeah, let's go. I would be in favor of getting Norfolk Southern on the phone, seeing whether they recognize the value of unimpeded traffic through there as well. And then if all three of us can go to the dance instead of just the two, that might be, I would like to hear that through a budgetary amendment and see where we go from there.
One more question out of me. Have we had any safety or injury-related incidents at that crossing?
Yes.
We have. Can you speak on that or volume? It might have been on one of the small prints.
It was.
There we go.
One incident.
One. Blockages. So that's not like a safety situation. That's
No, it's
blockages.
just blockages.
Okay, nothing in the past 10 years?
Reported blockages.
Okay. Okay. Thinking from a safety, I know it came up because of Safe Streets for All, so safety perspective, this is more of a maintenance on the tracks, access, and potential blockages of the tracks impeding access to the PID. Makes sense. Have we explored other entry points to the PID? I know we have 35 that you can come off the ramp. There's also Railroad Avenue on the far side that doesn't look like it crosses all the way in. But that might be part of the study as well as other potential access points. I'm not sure on that. I think next steps would be to engage with Norfolk Southern, and I don't know if that's your role or Mike would do that. Who would be in charge of reaching out to the other player in the?
BNSF is reaching out to them.
Okay, so that's ongoing. I think that would be the next thing as a council we would need to hear about to kind of start moving forward. You said February is when the process opens?
It should open in early spring.
Okay. And then May is the
We would like to get started if you all would like to move forward with the grant, we would like to get started on it before then.
Okay.
Because it does take some time.
Sure. All right. So, Councilmember Clark?
Sorry, I may have misheard you, but did you say that it would prevent horn honking? Okay. That's where I perked up because almost every one of my neighbors is like, what's up with these trains and the horns honking? I'm curious because I don't know enough about the railroad life. You guys don't use the horn to communicate with each other. You use it to communicate to people crossing, humans and cars.
That's right.
Oh, guys, I mean.
It's
worth $30 million right there.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Looking
we
out
start
for
with
your
the 100K.
constituents. I hear you.
Look. had I known this whole time, because sometimes it feels a little passive aggressive, I'm gonna be honest. Like, who's crossing? Because somebody is really laying into that horn at like 3 a.m. sometimes, where I want to personally go down and see what the heck's happening. But knowing that it's a human or a car, that's what you guys are, that's the horn is yelling at. So, public, this is what it is. It's not, it feels personal. It does sometimes. But that's good to know. I'm all for this, guys. I'm on the wagon.
So we pass the collection plate in Ward 4, and we'll get the $100,000
Yes.
tomorrow.
I believe so.
Awesome. All right. So next steps would be to find out from Norfolk Southern if they're looking to participate, and then we can make an informed decision after that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Anything else you need from us?
Nope. Thank you.
you very much for your time.
Appreciate it.
All right. Item 13.
Consideration of an ordinance approving a community transportation contract with Guest, Bill number 7955, ordinance number 9752.
Do we need any further explainer on this one? I think we've talked it into the ground. This is the contract for the Northland Rideshare style program with Guest. This would open up access to the 5 Northland cities. The price is $7,500 a month or $90,000 for the year. And the cost to the riders would be $3 per person per ride. And we have gotten good reviews from every other participating community thus far.
Got to start somewhere. First reading.
There you go.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Just a general question, but I wasn't here last week. I tried to catch up on some of that, but have we had discussions with guests on advertising or getting the word out that how do you get a hold of them instead of the Flex Bus for people using that service?
Sure. And they would mirror what they've done in the other cities, the big ribbon cutting, press releases, that kind of stuff, and then potentially wrapping vehicles, I understand is a thing they're looking to do. Go ahead.
One of the things the communications team has talked about is a postcard. So after kind of all the transit options are finalized for next year, for 2026, the communications team will put together a postcard that will be mailed citywide to kind of let them know about all their public transit options for 2026.
And newsletter, and water bills, and carrier pigeons, every way we can get this out. But, yeah, we'll be spreading the word. Any other question? So we got a first reading, second. We did in favor. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
An ordinance adopting and approving a community transportation service contract by and between the City of North Kansas City, Missouri and Guest Missouri Holdings, LLC for public transportation services within the City of North Kansas City, Missouri.
I move that bill number 7955 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9752.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Click.
Yes.
Councilmember Saper.
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey.
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
An ordinance adopting and approving a community transportation service contract by and between the City of North Kansas City, Missouri and Guest Missouri Holdings, LLC for public transportation services within the City of North Kansas City, Missouri.
Excellent. Item 14.
Consideration of an ordinance approving a temporary license agreement with Armor District, LLC, Bill number 7953, ordinance number 9750.
And this one is something that we basically renew annually. This used to be with NT Realty, is now with Armor District LLC. This is for the parking lot off of Clay, between Clay and Swift, off of Armor and bounded by 18th, affectionately known as the Paul and Jack's adjacent parking lot. It's $500 a month. We installed some lever arms for access, and we got a very preferential rate for that rent, and Armor District has honored that, so this is the proposal to renew that temporary license agreement. Do we have a motion?
First reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
An ordinance adopting and approving a non-exclusive temporary license agreement by and between the City of North Kansas City, Missouri as licensee and Armor District LLC as licensor for the temporary use of a certain parking lot owned by licensor.
I move that bill number 7953 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9750.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Click,
Yes.
Councilmember Saper,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
An ordinance adopting and approving a non-exclusive temporary license agreement by and between the City of North Kansas City, Missouri as licensee and Armor District LLC as licensor for the temporary use of a certain parking lot owned by licensor.
All right, let's pay the bills. Item 15.
Consideration of an ordinance approving accounts due and payable by the city through November 28th, 2025. Bill number 7956, ordinance number 9753.
Weird question, but where is ordinance number 9751?
Well, 9750 was out of order because we were going to put it on the last agenda and we
Cool.
pulled it, so 9751 was on the last agenda.
Okay, I was like, I messed up.
Goodness.
First reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through November 28th, 2025.
I move that bill number 7956 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9753.
Call the roll.
Second.
Councilmember Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Click.
Yes.
Councilmember Saper.
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey.
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through November 28th, 2025.
Staff comments.
All right, not a whole lot tonight. Crystal, Kim, and Dan, I have comments for you, unless anyone has questions before that.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I want to remind everybody that you should be receiving the notice from the Missouri Ethics Commission for your personal financial disclosure statements. They're due by sometime in January, by the end of January. So watch for those because they'll email them to you. I don't get them, so I won't be able to tell you.
Is that not what we signed recently?
No, what you
Oh, I was
signed
just that
is for the
far
audit.
behind. Okay, cool.
And then also, at the next meeting, I'd like to bring forward to the council some changes I'd like to see made on the charges we charge for sunshine requests. We're getting a lot more sunshine requests than we've gotten in the past, and they're pretty big, so they take a lot of time. And we haven't updated that. I don't remember when it was last. It's not since I've been here, and I've been here 13 years. So I think that we need to make some changes. There's been some changes with the state on how we can charge, and so I'd like to bring that forth if it's okay with you guys.
What's the current charge?
Oh, okay, I wasn't going to say this, but candidate filing starts December 9th at 8 a.m. and goes through December 30th at 5 p.m.
That's December 9th it starts?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to remind people of that.
However, we will be gone. We do have half a day Christmas Eve, and then we're off Christmas Day and the day after. So I'll be here till noon on Christmas Eve for signups.
Okay. Other staff comments?
Just real quick, sorry, Dan. At your next city council meeting, you will be hosting the graduating class of the Citizens Academy. So the fall cohort will be graduating, so they are looking forward to meeting everybody and going through their ceremony.
Excellent.
And I just wanted to thank all of you that showed up for the award ceremony over at the fire station. We truly appreciate you when you come out and show that support. So thank you for being there.
Very good. I was surprised at how international our fire department is. We got friends from all over the planet. Very good. Any other staff comments? Anthony? Anything? All right. Very good. Council member comments, starting with Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Wasn't quite prepared to go first. Thank you to the workforce development program. It's exciting to see that they left their big check, but I assume we transferred the money to them. So. And an item that's been on the city strategic plan that I don't think has been progressing, but there's somewhat of a time, deadline approaching is the infrastructure audit of the city's fiber network. The renewal with that is coming up before we know it, and I know that getting that study moving to know what assets the city has in the ground and what state they're in before we go into negotiations on that has been sitting out there, so I'd like to see some progress on that and get a task order out or whatever the next step is. I'm just one of 8 votes up here, but that'd be my stance on it. Try to move that forward quickly, maybe even the next meeting or two if possible.
Yep. Very good. Councilmember Alvarez.
Just want to thank Troop 354 for their Pledge of Allegiance, being here tonight, so thank you for doing that. And actually, I think that's all I have.
Councilmember Clark.
Way to go, Troop 354. Thanks to Kim for signing a meeting that was a little over an hour. Not too bad, not too shabby. There have been some 3-hour ones she could have punished you with. Great job. Parks update. Feel the Warmth made it to our open North KC Park fences today, so not River Forest Park, but hats, scarves, and gloves are available for anyone who may need them. Mayor's Christmas tree lighting is this Friday, December 5th at 6 p.m. in its new location at Dagg Park, just right out there. Santa, the missus, their elves, everybody's going to be in attendance. Cocoa and cookies will be served. Goodie bags for the first 200 kids. That's it.
First 200. All right. Councilmember Click.
Get there early. Troop 354, thanks for coming and sitting through everything. I hope you learned some stuff, and it was kind of interesting. And Ken from Verramore Bank, thanks for being part of North Kansas City. We appreciate you being here. Happy holidays. That's all.
Councilmember Saber.
Since I will not be at the next council meeting to congratulate the graduating class, I want to do it early. What number class is this? Putting you on the spot right now.
I want to say it's either 5 or 6.
They've all been terrific and getting better all the time, and I encourage everyone out there who has the time to take part and harass as many city departments as you want in the process. And again, happy holidays to all.
Councilmember Bailey.
Thank you, Ken, for coming out. I know I use Verramore Bank, so it was great to get to see you. Thank you for the composting committee for coming out. It's one of the things that I will honestly say brings me some amount of joy to see us moving forward as a city municipality looking at adding services like that. And lastly, congratulations to Peggy Staver for her appointment.
Dr. McGrone.
I think everybody said everything I want to say, except thank you to our wonderful Public Works Department who got our city streets clean fast as usual. We love all of you, and we love North Kansas City. There we go.
Excellent. That brings it around to me. I'm going to echo just a few things. A reminder on the election, if you'd like to run, basically those of you who are still watching, 12/9, sign up, bring $5, still $5. Does it have to be in cash? $5 cash. We will turn you away if you don't have the cash. And that runs through Christmas Eve at noon. Is that what I heard? No. The 30th. Okay. But till noon on Christmas Eve. Very good. The mayor's tree lighting, Amy already mentioned this, but it will be at Dagg Park, not at the corner of Armour and Swift, as it has been for the past few years. We are moving that. So if you show up down there, you might be confused. So come out 6 p.m. on Friday. Public Works, crushing it with the snow removal. Thank you so much to everyone who is involved with that. I'm always blown away by how quickly that stuff disappears in North Kansas City and not elsewhere. You can tell where the boundaries are. If you're confused where North Kansas City stops, look for the snow. Let's see, composting committee, thank you for the presentation. It's amazing to see what motivated residents can get going. I appreciate the expertise and the just motivation to get things moving. And then I meant to run this by council before announcing it, but I am going to be hosting a town hall meeting later this month. It will be on the 18th, location to be determined. So if you're watching and you want to attend, go ahead and put that on your calendar. Just pencil in the 18th. We'll hone in the details. That is all from me. Moving on to item 19.
Consideration of a request to hold in recess into an executive session as requested by the city administrator to be held on this date pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute Section 610.02112 contractual matter and 610.0212 real estate matters. Contractual matter, real estate matter, real estate matter.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Click.
Yes.
Councilmember Saper.
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey.
Here, all right, yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
Perfect. At this time, the live stream and Channel 2 will shut off. There will be no further votes or business this evening. Thank you for tuning in.